Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Reborn Dolls with Karen. We're back with Marissa. She's had all of her enhancements that we were wanting to give her. She doesn't look all that fantastic. She's not a very attractive baby in my opinion, but okay, we're gonna move on. You can see her pink little feet and her pink little toes. Her nails are coming along, her lips are coming along. Everything's looking good. I can still see her creases. So we're going to start putting some layers on her now. And the first layer we always put on, well, the first layer I always put on is the Flesh. It is Flesh 05. It's the color I like the best. We're getting low again. I didn't mix all that much the last time. I was just making a demonstration on how to mix, and I just mixed some. And so next time I'll have to mix a lot more because I use a lot of paint. Oh, crap. I don't have any paper towels. Let me get some paper towels. Oh. I guess I ran out the other day and never did replenish my paper towels. Until you need one, you don't think about it. And then all of a sudden, no paper towels, so you have to get some. Okay, let me stick this over here. Oh, my table is so crowded. It's so little, and so I have so little bit of room to do my stuff on. Well, okay, it can stay like that. I just keep this paper towel handy so I can wipe my hands real quick when I get paint on them. Because you don't want to have painty fingers when you touch your doll. In fact, you want to have very clean fingers. And that's one thing we didn't cover was washing your hands. We should wash our hands very often when we're making dolls. Because, well, for one thing, paint gets all over them. For another thing, our hands are just oily to begin with. We have oils and stuff on our hands that can put marks on your dolls and keep that spot from coloring good. But I don't usually find it to be a problem if all I have in dirt on my hands is paint or something. Now, if you have dirty hands for making chicken sandwiches or something, you need to wash your hands because, you know, you don't want anything like that on your doll. Anyway, here we go. We're going to try to get 2 coats of this on Marissa. I will say that I'm sorry for the videos going up so slow. By the time you see this one, it probably won't be slow anymore. But I'm having a lot of trouble getting the beans video to go up. It's still on the 2nd episode or part, and it just keeps failing. And I don't know what to do. I just keep trying it over and over again. I had this problem with Phineas way back when I was doing Phineas's video. And I posted a whole separate video so people would know I wasn't just not making videos, that it was a problem with posting the videos. And finally, it did post. This is the 3rd or 4th time it's failed on Jenny's video and started over. And at one time it was saying, it'll usually say so much percent is uploaded already, and it's going to take this long to finish uploading, you know. And it's usually 2-3 hours, something like that. It was saying 100 hours. I said, are you kidding me? That's more than 3 days. That's more than 4 days. That's more than 4 days. And I just couldn't believe it. And so after almost the entire day went by, it was still stuck right where it was. It hadn't moved 1 single percent, and it was still saying 100 hours. So I stopped it and deleted the upload and started it over again. And then it said about 17 hours, but I just let that go. And after a couple hours, it was down to saying 2 hours. But all day long, for 5 or 6 hours, it still said 2 hours. And I was going, okay, I'll just leave it overnight. So I get up this morning, and what do you think I find? It's still on 2 hours. And so I don't know if it failed and started over and just got that far, or if it's been stuck all night on that. I don't know. So I don't know whether to wait it out or try to restart the video or what. It's just, I don't know. I may lose that one. I may not can download it. I mean, how many times would you try before you say, I think something's really bad wrong with that? I don't really know what's going on. There are times when it's really fast, and then there's times like this where you can't hardly get it to download no matter what you do. So, well, I don't know what to do. I'm going to keep trying, but there is a chance I'll skip number 2 and go to 3 and then come back to 2 at some other time, and it'll be out of order. I don't like to do that. I like them to be in at least semi-correct order, and so people can watch them in order. You know, one will end and the very next one will come up, and if it's some other video, it'll go 1, 4, 6, 3. I don't like it like that. I want it to be in order so people don't have to search for the video. I remember watching people's videos and they just uploaded them any old kind of way. When I had my editor doing it, he would wait until the whole series was done. Then he'd edit every single video, and then he'd start them all uploading at the same time. And they would upload at different speeds because there were different links, and some of them wouldn't take as long. And they uploaded very willy-nilly like that. And I didn't like it. I liked them to be in order. But anyway, that's what happened. And we're a little bit stuck. So I'm already going to probably get finished with Marissa's video before Beans even finishes uploading. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. I did seal 5 dolls, and they're over here on the side and over here on my other rack, and some of them are out in the oven. So I will have more dolls to do very shortly. I sealed Ginger, Kyra, Joanna, Elsie. I'm trying to figure out who they are. Charla, Ginger, Charla, Elsie, Joanna. Oh, I can't remember the other one. I'm sorry. Anyway, I got 5 of them. All but Joanna are artist kits. And I just pulled out the next kits that came out of the box. And I found that I have 2 Kyras. One of them is one I just got in the last shipment I got. And the other one was one I bought sometime earlier. I don't remember. And I had them both were down here in this box. I didn't know I had 2 of the same kit. I have a big old box under here under my table that I keep kits in. It was a hot water heater box, and you know, it's real big because hot water heaters are kind of big. But I cut it off short enough to fit under the table and cut a big notch in it so I can just reach in the box and pull out a kit. And so I pulled out Kyra, and so I got her out and I was going to start putting sealer on her, and I noticed her lips were off color. They were kind of bluish green, like somebody took the vein blue and just painted her lips a real light coat of that. And I'm going, what? This is the first time I've taken her out of the bag. I don't know what's wrong with her. Anyway, I took a picture of her, and they have to see your invoice and everything. They can't just look at the kit because you might have got it from an individual. They want to know you got it from them. Even though they all came from them, somebody could have altered it before you bought it from an individual, you know. And they're not going to stand behind that. But I sent them a copy of my invoice. It's only been a few days since I got the kits, and this was the first time I opened them up and looked at them. And I sent them a picture of Kyra, and I said, what's up with these lips, you know? And so I'm expecting them to send me another Kyra head. See, this is why I don't repair dolls. Bountiful Baby is real good. I don't know what other companies do, but Bountiful Baby stands behind their stuff. If something's wrong with it when you get it, they will replace it. So I don't know. I couldn't get the blue off her lips with anything. I tried everything except an eraser. I was going to try to find an eraser and see if I could erase it off, but I haven't found one yet. I don't have none of my Prisma pencils have erasers, and I don't really use pencils beyond that. I used to have one in there that was just a regular pencil with a regular eraser on it, but I don't know what I've done with it. I didn't sharpen it, so I didn't take it out to use it for writing. But it was in my pencil thing, and I couldn't find it yesterday, so I couldn't erase the pencil marks. I mean, the blue off her lips. Usually stuff like that sometimes will erase. She's not been sealed, so it should erase pretty good. I don't know. Just take an eraser and just erase it. And sometimes it'll come off, sometimes it won't. But I was expecting it to come off because it's very, very light, but still it's there. It's still there. And I wanted to see if I could diminish it. Anyway, long story short, I had already sealed her arms and legs. And the sealer was on it. It wasn't baked yet. And so I go, okay, now what do I do? Oh yeah, I can pull out that other Kyra head. So I got the other Kyra out and took her head and put it with this one because it's not blue. So I could go on and seal Kyra up and have her ready to paint. I like Kyra. She's a cute kid. She's not real attractive, but she makes a cutish doll, I think. A lot of these little artist kits are never going to look like anything but a doll. Elsie's one of them. I'm fixing to show her to you. She's kind of cartoony looking. And Charla, excuse me, I have hiccups again today. Here's Elsie right here. She has a kind of goofy look on her face. She's a little cartoony looking, and she's probably never going to look like anything but a doll. And here is, I think this one's Ginger. Yeah, she looks the same way, kind of goofy and cartoony looking. But now they could look totally different when they're painted. I don't know. And here is Charla, 1, 2, Kyra, Elsie, Ginger, Charla, and Joanna. Yeah, that's the ones. Here's Charla, very goofy. She even has those funny looking little dimples on her cheeks that like clowns have. She resembles the clowns that they made, only they had little triangles around their eyes and stuff. Little clowny looking things to make them look more like a clown. Well, I think they just took Charla's kit and put that on it because Charla looks like a clown to me. I don't know. I think she's weird. But I'm gonna reborn them, but if I don't like the way they come out, I'm probably just gonna stick them right over in the bargain dolls or something. I won't make them real elaborate. If they're not coming out well, I probably won't give them magnets or anything like that. They already don't have COAs, which makes people think there's something wrong with your kit. But, you try to explain to them, Bountiful Baby does not give COAs for these kits. They do not have them because they're not the Reborns. Only the Reborns get COAs. And then they have to be a first. They can't be a second. If they're a second, they also do not get a COA, which I don't think is right because it's still a doll. I guess they don't want it to represent their really perfect kit. It's what they call perfect. But Kyra, even though she was an artist kit, she was not a second. So she shouldn't have had any flaws on her. And they're supposed to be inspected. So I'm going, who let that go by, I don't know how her lips got greenish. It's a greenish blue color, almost like teal. And it's just weird. And I don't know how anybody let that slide by. But they did. Somebody did. Which makes me think they don't even inspect them. They say they do, but possibly somebody at the factory inspects them. I don't know. I don't know who inspects them. They might want a picture of her bag to make sure she's not a second. They actually write second on the bag, so you know it's a second. I did order a Kyra second, but she hasn't come yet. She was cheaper. And usually you cannot tell any difference in the seconds. It'll be something very, very minor that you can't even tell. You'll go, if this is a second, I can't see it. One time I got one and right on the inside of the rim down here. See, the rim is just very solid and round. Well, there was a little piece where the rim was like cut out. It didn't fully form or something. And it just wasn't enough to hurt it at all. But they made it a second because of that. I would think they would try to pull out and like throw all the seconds in one pile and then go through them and go, okay, the head on this one is the second. Excuse me. And the legs on this one is a second. And sort of put those seconds together and make the rest of them be, okay kids. I'm going to let her sit for just a minute while I'll see if I can still find Kyra's bag. I threw it in the garbage over here, but the garbage is right here. That's Ginger. Charlie. Kyra. There it is. See, Kyra's considered a 21-inch doll. Oh, you probably can't see, that's too far away, but she's considered a 21-inch doll, which makes her a little bit bigger than the other dolls. Her head is kind of big, but she don't seem that big to me. Okay, that's clean. I'm going to pounce around on this baby a little bit more so I can go in and put the next coat on her. She still can fit on a 20-inch body, a 19-inch, I mean. I don't think they make a 19-inch with the 3/4. She's a 3/4 doll. So you have to have a 20-inch for that. It usually goes like this. The 17-inch body has 3/4 arms, full legs. It's the way they make their dolls. If it's a 17-inch doll, they're going to make it that way. Probably. The 16-inch and 15-inch usually are full 3/4, except Bean. She's the only one that's not. And then if it's an 18-inch doll, it either has to have one of them chubby bodies or you have to put it on a 19-inch body. Some of them go on 19-inch bodies. I don't know why. I guess because the limbs are a little bit smaller, they'll still be 18 inches. I don't really know. But the 18-inch body is a 3/4 body. They don't make an 18-inch full body. And then, okay, in the full bodies, they make this little bitty small body they call the 15 to 17-inch body. It's supposed to be small. It is small. It's a lot smaller than the 19-inch body. It's supposed to be small enough for a 15-inch doll like Bean, and any doll in between 15 and 17 inches, and including a 17-inch doll that has full limbs, which you're really not going to find, I don't think. Ever 17.5, I think. And sometimes I put her on that body, but she really calls for a 19-inch body. I don't know why. But the bodies are real funny like that. They just don't make a body in both styles for every single doll. You have to improvise with other bodies. But if you want the exact body, like it's a 17-inch doll and you want a 17-inch body with full limbs, you'll have to go to like Dolls by Sandy or someplace like that. They have just their styles of body, this style, this style, this style, and then you look at the sizes and they go from real small to real big. And so they have more sizes, but their bodies aren't as good. I don't like them as well. And they never, as far as I know, they never have a sale. And their bodies are like $14 and something, regular price, which to me, if bodies are not on sale at Bountiful Baby, well, that's going to be your best price at that time. But if they have them on sale at Bountiful Baby, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting a Bountiful Baby body, even if it's not the absolute correct body. But if you want the correct body, you have to look on a site like Dolls So Real. I mean, Dolls by Sandy. Dolls so real closed up. Dolls by Sandy's Bodies. They have they have some with a gathered chest and a gathered little bottom, but they're not gathered quite right. They don't look right. And they don't have those nice little pockets where the arms and legs go. They're not premium, and they have strings. You have to change them to zip ties. Which all of those are okay. If you need a body, you need a body. They also have bodies that are not gathered. So they have the ones that are just sort of flat in those places. They don't have a gather. Just want to make sure she's dry enough so when she goes in the oven, she won't get a rashy look on her. Sold another doll today. So dolls are picking up now. It's September, and it's about what is today? The 15th, maybe? I don't know. I can't keep up with the days. It's Sunday. It might just be the 14th. I don't know. But it's Sunday, and it's around one of those dates. I don't know what date it is. I just can't keep up with it. But dolls are picking up now. This is 2 in 2 days that I've sold, so that's pretty good. I'm real happy with the results on this one. I got a bit more for this one than I did for the one I sold yesterday. So the mailman's not going to be happy. They don't like coming up the stairs to get your package. Yesterday, I was sure nobody was coming. The mail always comes a little earlier on Saturday. Somehow they just whiz through it because they want to get off early, I guess. And so mail time came and left, and nobody came to get my package. And I was beginning to think I was going to have to make another appointment for Monday. And then about 4 o'clock, a man just came to the door and said, "I'm here for your package." Okay. And so I guess they sent him out special, because a lot of times the mail carrier, the regular mail carrier, there's 6 days that you have to deliver mail. And they want a day off, I guess. And sometimes they take Saturday off because they also get Sunday off. So they have a substitute mail carrier. Every route has, I don't know how they do it in big cities, but here in these little country towns, they have what they call Route 1, Route 2, Route 3, like that. And whatever route you're on, there's a regular mail carrier, and then there's a substitute mail carrier. And when the substitute mail carrier comes, sometimes you don't get your packages that day because they claim they can't find your apartment. I don't even think they look. Oh, we got confused. We couldn't find it, like that. And so then you have to wait till the other mail carrier is back on duty to get your package. And I think it's the same thing with picking up your packages. They just don't do it. And then they go back and say, "I couldn't find the apartment." And so then they send somebody else out to get it. That's what I think's happening. They'll say, "Hey, so-and-so, go get that package." But at least it got picked up. I was glad. I don't like to make the customer wait so long to get their package. I want to send it off as soon as possible. It's not possible to send it off today. The post office isn't even open. If I even went there, they wouldn't be able to take my package because they're not there. So, what can you do? Except wait. But I'm going to schedule. You have to go online, and now the regular postal lady, if she's coming to pick up a package already, or she's bringing you a package and you have a package to send out, she'll just take it. You don't have to schedule a pickup. She'll just take it. But this other lady that's been coming, she won't do it. Because the other day she came and she brought a package, and I said, "Can you take my package that I have going out?" She said, "Did you schedule a pickup?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Then no." Okay. You're already here. I don't see the problem. But she didn't want to take it, so okay, I just scheduled a pickup, and she had to come back the next day and get it. I think she might be our regular carrier now. In order to be a mail carrier, you have to first be at least here you do. You have to first be a substitute carrier. And then when a route opens up, like say the mail carrier moves up to working in the post office or something, or just sorting mail, I don't know, then their route would be open and you could get it. Otherwise, you stay a substitute carrier for however long it takes for you to get a route. And I'm assuming the one who's been there the longest will get the route, not the person who is actually the substitute for that route. Because, you know, you could be the substitute for Route 1, and then Route 2 gets an opening and you can take it because you were there longer than the substitute for Route 2. Does that make sense? I hope so. But that's how they do it, I think. I think that's what because I asked one time, and she said, oh, we had a substitute on that route that day, and blah, blah, blah. And I go, what happened to my regular mail carrier? Oh, she moved up and did something, something, and now a substitute has hers. And it wasn't the substitute that was the substitute for the route. She was still the substitute for the route. So I guess it goes by low man on the totem pole. I don't know. Has to still, you know, high man on the totem pole gets the job. I guess. I don't know. Oh, takes a little minute to get paint on a doll twice. Marissa will go back in for her bake just very, very shortly, and then we'll be back for her next coat. Oh, we're going to touch up her nails and lips again. We take every opportunity to do stuff like that. And she's going to get a baby scratch. So we might ought to get started on her baby scratch as well. You don't really have to. Sometimes I save the baby scratch for the very last step after I've put on the actual blush layer, and then I'll put the baby scratch on top of that and just dry each step with the heat gun. But we can start a little early. This will be the first time I have taken 2 steps to do it, but never started this early. So we'll see what happens when we start early. Will it build up properly, or will it get faded out? We don't know. We'll find out. When you want to put a special mark on your baby, the first thing you need to do is decide, what special mark do I want to put on my doll? And sometimes it's dictated by a boo-boo. So you made something happen to your doll. Now you need to cover it. So you're going to put a special mark on your doll that will cover it. I think that's how people ended up trying to do these special marks in the first place, because of boo-boos. They don't want to put their baby up as a boo-boo, so they make it look like, oh, this is intentional. This is not a boo-boo. So we're going to let her sit just a minute while I put all this stuff away. I'm going to get out one clean sponge in case I find something on her while I'm checking her nails and stuff that I need to pounce a little more. And we're going to put up this paint, and we're going to get out our scratch. I have hiccups. I am so sorry. We're going to get out our scratch paint. Now for scratches, yes, this is a different color, but because we're putting it in a very small, limited area, it's not going to change the color of her paint. I have over here in this little container a little bit of paint in a little lid. My nose is trying to run. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, I have 2 little lids in here. One's got the nail tip, which I showed you already. I've been using this nail tip for every doll I've ever tipped their nails, which it hadn't been that long. A few months I've been tipping nails. Well, 2 months maybe. But I made the teeniest bit I thought I could make in this little lid, and it was so way too much. So I didn't want to throw it out, so I put it in this little Ziploc bag, and it's so far preserved it. The other little container has my red color that I use for the baby scratches. And what I did to make them, well, this one I made differently. For this one, I only used thinning medium. No paint thinner, just thinning medium. And I just drizzled a tiny bit in here, and then I just took the concentrated color and mixed it in the thinning medium, and it was very thick, and you can see it still is. It doesn't run or anything. None will come out. And it is easy to get on the end of a toothpick and swipe across the nail. We're going to put that one back because we're not using it right now. And we're going to move on to this red one. For this one, I mixed it differently. I only put thick medium. Just like they have one that says thinning medium, they have one that says thick medium. And thick medium is thick indeed. It is very, very gloppy and thick. And I put just a tiny little teeny, you can't drizzle that one. You just have to get a little hunk on your toothpick and put it in here. And then I put some color from this jar in it. And this is thick enough that when it's on your doll, it actually, you can, once it's dry, if you put it on properly, you don't just put it on super thin or something, you can feel it. It stands up from the skin. And just like a scratch, if you had a scratch, you can feel those little scabs on it. You can feel it. So that's why I mixed it with the thick medium. I wanted it to have a 3D texture to it, so you could actually see it well and touch it and feel it. So, okay, we're going to get started on our scratch. We want to make sure where we're going to put it on Marissa is going to be very dry. So we first need to choose where on the doll do you want your scratch. I've put them on the forehead, I've put them on the cheeks, I've put it on almost up here on the nose, I've put it down on the chin, I've put it in a variety of different places. This is something you choose. It's a personal preference. Usually what I do is I just take the doll and I go, okay, if her hand was up on her face, where would it end up? Where would a baby likely scratch themselves? And I always think it's somewhere in the cheek area. Not necessarily, but, babies are sometimes born with longish nails, and sometimes they're even jaggedy looking. So it's entirely possible that the baby could scratch themselves anywhere, even on their arm or their leg. But I don't usually put anything like that on the arm or the leg. I usually just put it somewhere on the cheek where it shows on the face, and people do like it. I recently donated 3 dolls to my sister. She works for FedEx, and FedEx sponsors lots and lots of charities every year. And one of them is St. Jude's or Le Bonheur. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Anyway, they're both in Memphis. St. Jude's is located in Memphis. It's a children's research hospital, and their specialty is childhood cancer. Founded by Danny Thomas. You may have heard of it. It's in Memphis, Tennessee. Anyway, so she works there, and she said, oh, we're doing this drive. Do you want to donate $1 or something? I donated 3. I donated Aspen and Leaf, the twins, and then I donated Dominic Sleeping. And on Dominic, I gave him a scratch. He had a scratch on his face. And her boss was the one putting the items up for so-called auction or something. They weren't really auctioned. They were, every time you gave a donation of at least $5, you could put a ticket in there. Unless you gave 20, then you could have 5 tickets instead of 4. So needless to say, they got a lot of tickets. They raised over $1,000 with my dolls that I donated, which I was real happy about that. But one of the things she was telling me, the boss made a little video about the dolls so that everybody could see the video and know what the dolls look like. And she goes, oh, look, it even has a scratch on its face, like it was just fantastic or something, which made me feel good. Anyway, back to the scratch. When you notice somebody with a scratch, when you have a scratch, or one of your children has a scratch, or a baby has a scratch, wherever the scratch is, the skin seems a little irritated underneath it. It's like a little bit redder than normal, or a little bit some puffier, or some kind of an irritation there. So that's what we want to do first. We want to make a little spot to put our scratch. It can be rashy looking because it's a scratch. So we're just going to pick a spot. I'm going to try to not pick where the reddest part of her cheeks are because it's not going to show very good there. But, you know, it'll still show. But I'm going to go a little bit, I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to go on top of that. Anyway, I'm just going to use one of these little brushes that has been dipped in the red. And I'm just going to make a little streak on her face that looks like a redder spot that would be some inflamed skin or something underneath the rash. I mean, underneath the scratch. And perfection we cannot do. We just do the best we can on this. And that's not showing at all. That doesn't have any paint in it. Let me get another one. These flatter brushes just don't hold very much paint. They're not good for this. Because her cheeks are so dark, you can't really see this color very well. But if you look really close, you can see that there's a little bit of a darker streak on her cheek. And now I'm going to dry it with this heat gun. What we're looking for is no more shiny on her face. And that was just regular blush paint from the layers that I put on the doll. It's by no means completely dry or cured, but the shiny is gone. You can tell by this cheek looks really shiny. This one doesn't look all that shiny. Now you can see it a little better. There's just a little dark streak right there on her cheek. And she's a little warm. Okay, so now we have our underlying little swollen or redder little spot that's inflamed a little bit. Now we're going to be using some of this paint and some of this in this little container here, because you just don't want too much bumpy paint on your doll. I'm going to use my very tiny little paintbrush that has 5 hairs in it. It's got more than that, but you know, it's just very little. And what I do is I rotate this paint with that paint, and each layer has some of each. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this paint on. I want the bumpier paint on top. Even though we're going to probably do 2 or 3 coats of each one of these, we're going to kind of layer it a little bit. Very, very little on your brush. We want to put dots, like you're making a dotted line on a piece of paper or something, if you've ever made one. We're going to make dots on her face. And so I'm just going to go down through this little scratch area, and I'm just going to put some dots. Now they're very, very close together, even touching, but they don't look like a solid line. Some of the dots will be a little crooked, some will be a little bigger, some a little smaller, some will be further spaced apart. That's the way a scratch is. It's just willy-nilly. So we're just dotting this on in little dots, like that. I don't know if you can tell it's dotted, but you definitely can tell it's on her face. And so now I'm going to dry that. There's several steps to making a scratch. want to make sure to get it dry enough that when we touch it again, it's not going to, it's still gooey. I have to do it a little more. We don't want touching it to make it come off. And this is kind of thick. We didn't wipe the brush off real good. And we put dots instead of a smooth line. So the dots are, each little dot is its own thickness. And so we have to make sure we dry it through all those thicknesses. Okay, her first layer, the swipe layer that came, is starting to look rashy, and it's supposed to look like that. This is the kind of rashiness. I don't know if you can see it. You don't want on your layers, but on a scratch, it looks good. It's kind of scratchy looking because, well, it's a scratch, you know. Okay, now we're going to move to, who in the heck could that be? Oh, it's in my pocket. I was going, where did I hear that from? Oh, it's 109, so it's probably... Okay, it was just, it's what they call your weekly report. They tell you how many minutes you used your phone for the week and crap like that. It's just stupid. Okay, now we're going to use this paint in this little. Now this is much, much thicker, globbier, and 3D. And we're going to get some of that on our brush. It doesn't hurt if you try to mix it up a little bit. It's been sitting in this little tray ever since the last time I made a scratch. And I don't put one on every doll, so it's been a while. And it's still plenty good. It didn't dry out or anything. So here we go. Now these dots are going to be a little bit bigger and a little bit further apart because we want to make them only part of her scratch. We don't want every bit of the scratch to be totally sticking out from her face. That's not the way scratches are. They look a little flat in some areas. They're a little less touchable. I mean, you can touch them, but you don't feel them. You just feel that bumpy every now and then little scab on a scratch. So here we go. We're going to put, she's really hot. It won't hurt anything for this because if this dries fast, yay! And if you're getting too many dots, just start spacing them a little bit more apart. Like I said, scratches are very willy-nilly. Sometimes they'll have bigger spots on them, sometimes smaller spots. They're just every kind of different way. Now this one is going to stand out from her skin a little bit more. After she's dry, she's been through the oven and everything, you'll be able to feel that one. It's a little bit, only a little bit though, because it's such a tiny bit on her. That's when we're going to do another coat. Because other colors are still going on her, this isn't her last coat, we're going to let that sit, go through a bake, and then we're going to touch it up with more paint after she comes out from her bake, after she gets her next coat of paint. We want it to be more on top than underneath. This is not an undertone. So we're going to just close up these paints for, well, not this one. I still need to do her nails and lips. But I'm going to put this little lid back in this Ziploc bag so it doesn't dry out. They will eventually dry out. They will anyway. From coming in and going out and coming in and going out of the Ziploc bag so many times, eventually they'll get so thick you can't use them and you just start again. But until then, I'm going to keep using them. I'm a cheapskate. Okay, so now I'm just going to be very careful not to touch that because it's not completely dry. And I'm going to just do her lips. I did rinse my brush off in the paint thinner because I don't want thick medium on her lips. And thick medium was in that scratch stuff. So we're just going to put another coat on her lips. Well, we're going to do her nails first because her lips are a little bit hot from me blow drying her. I mean, heating, excuse me, hiccups. Heating her. We still have plenty of time. Well, another round, one more time after this one to put color on the nails. So they're starting to be darker now. You can tell. After a couple of really light coats, they start to be a little darker. And you can actually see the color a lot better. It looks shimmery and shiny because, I don't know, that's the way thinning medium is kind of. But it's not going to dry that way. It won't be that shiny when it dries. We're also getting to the point where if we want to darken the thickness, you know, make it a little thicker, make it a little darker, it can actually take it now because there's something for it to stick to, if you know what I mean. Before it was just, yeah, it's true. There was a sealer there, but there's an extra problem with this paint that you don't get with regular paint. It's just super thick because we didn't put any paint thinner in it. We only use thinning medium, and it's very thick and it can be very dark too, but it tends to run a bit if there's not something for it to really cling on to really well. It'll run down to the base of the nail and just look like you have a dark outline on your nails, which is funky looking. And sometimes you can't fix it. It just looks that way the whole time. Now's the time when you might get the nails not quite so even. One nail might be darker than another nail. And then so the next, if you do that, the next coat, you would only catch up the lighter nails to try to make them the same color, which it's not very hard to do that. It's just, it got a little too much paint on one nail. It's hard to tell when they're wet if they're exactly even. You can go, no, that doesn't look even, but exactly even, you might not can tell. You'll go, yeah, they look pretty even. Then they come out of the oven, you go, that one's just a little too dark. So that's why we check them every layer until we get to the blush layer. We'll still check them, but that layer, we don't usually put any more paint on it because we're putting the tip on instead. Now, if you can't get the nails right and you have to put polish on the last coat, you can leave it sit on the table for a little while to sort of dry a bit before you try to put the nail tip on, so you don't have to make an extra bake just for nail tip. I've done that a couple times. Or you can just not tip them. I've done that too. I used to never tip, so it's not such a big deal to me if they don't get tip on their nails. Yeah, it looks a little better. People will like your doll a little better, but it's only a tiny, tiny difference. And if you can't get the nails right, you don't have to tip them. You can just use that step to put another coat of color on, especially when you're a beginner. Tipping nails is, well, almost everything you do to a doll is optional. I have a friend that paints only with modeling, and she doesn't even paint the nails. She just lets them be. Really? Another thing? She just lets them be the color that they are. Well, Okay, it's a notification, not a text message. I get the same sound for notifications as I do for text messages. And so, uh, I never know if it's a notification or a text message. Them stupid notifications will drive you crazy. I turned off almost every single one of them. Okay, now her lips are painted, her nails are painted, she has her scratch started, and we're ready to put her in the oven and get her baked. So we're going to do that real quick and see, can't we get her ready for her warm blush. And then we'll renew her nails again, and her lips, and her scratch. And then after that bake, it'll be blush, and she'll be ready to get hair. Well, she'll be ready to get her glue first. I always like to glue them first and put their magnet in, because once I start putting that glue in the head, I don't want to do anything else inside the head, because what I do is a little bit different than what some people do. Some people put the glue in there and just let it just dry up, and that's fine. But I like to put the glue in there, after you've spread it all around inside the head. I like to actually put the polyfill in, because what happens is the polyfill will then bond with the glue too, and it will make extra protection for the hair. Because believe it or not, hair's going to come out of your doll. You might as well get used to that thought right now. As you're rooting, you're going to lose hairs. When you're combing the hair, you're going to lose hairs. When you're styling, cutting, whatever you're doing to the hair, if you're touching the hair, you're going to lose hairs. And here's the reason why. One of the things is, think about hair for a minute. Hair is a dead tissue. It doesn't have any nerves or feeling or anything. Once it comes out of your head, the only part of your hair that's alive is the follicle. And once it pushes that, it's made from keratin. Your hair's made from keratin. And once it pushes that little bit of keratin out of your head, it's completely dead already. So it's dead. Okay, it's not going to last. What would happen to your hair if it never grew again? Whatever hair you have right now is the only hair you're ever going to have. Think about that for a minute. It would get super dry. It would get brittle. It would start to break, because that's what happens to the hair you have, and it grows. And the bottom hair that is starting to break off and everything. And so that's what's happening to your doll's hair too, because it's hair. It's not human hair, but it is real hair. It's from a goat. Believe it or not, all hair that's called mohair is goat hair. I don't care where you buy it or how much money you pay for it, it's goat hair. And it's dyed. Goats are a variety of different colors, grays and blacks and whites and even browns, but they're not solid that. So to get hair that's all blonde or all brown or whatever color you're wanting, red or whatever, they have to dye it. And I think they even perm it to make it curly and straighten it to make it straight. Because I've seen kind of curly goats, but their hair isn't curly like what you'd want a baby's hair to be. But they take the younger goats, what they call a kid. I don't know how old they have to be to get their hair cut, but they shear them. It'll be their first shearing. They won't be a baby because their hair is just too short. But they're a kid until they're 2, and just like a lamb, a sheep is a lamb until they're 2. And now they're even considering puppies and kittens to be puppies and kittens until they're 2. So 2 years. So they might be as much as 2 years old, but they could be a little bit younger. I think they have to be sort of near that to have long enough hair to actually shear. And they're going to use the goats that have the longer hair. They're not going to use every single goat, because some of them just have shorter hair. Now, these are just facts about mohair. So you take that mohair and you root your doll. You don't even know how long it's been cut off the goat or anything. It could already be really dry and brittle. All the hair I've ever gotten is very soft, and it seems very good. It doesn't seem like it's brittle. But you are going to lose hairs as you're rooting. Some of them just won't root. They'll fall out. Some of them will come out when you're combing the hair down. After you root a little bit of hair, you have to comb it down or it gets in your way. And so every time you comb, there's going to be a little bit of hair in your toothbrush. We use a toothbrush to comb, and so you're going to lose hair. So once you get that hair in the head and glued in, you're still going to lose hair. Most of them because they break, but some of them will still come out. So that's why I like to bond the polyfill with the hair. It just gives something extra to hold that hair in a little bit more. And that's why we condition the hair. And we try not to brush the hair. The more you change your doll's clothes, brush the hair, style the hair, all that kind of stuff, the more your hair is going to get bad. It gets fuzzy, it gets matted, it gets just everything. Everything that you don't want hair to do, it's going to do it because it happens to your hair. If you didn't brush your little girl's hair for 2 weeks, what do you think would happen to it? Well, she moves around. Your doll's not going to unless you're moving it around. It's just going to sit there and the hair's going to stay good. But if you're moving it around, changing its clothes, and somebody's playing with it or holding it or whatever, the hair's going to get messed up and you're going to have to comb it, or it's just going to get matted. And so that's why we have to condition the hair. And we're going to talk a lot about hair whenever we start rooting Marissa. We're going to talk about different kinds of mohair. We're going to talk about curly versus straight, different colors of mohair, everything. We're going to talk about all those things. And in depth, way more in depth than we're doing now. But anyway, long story short, the hair has to be taken care of. But don't think you're going to get through it without losing hair, because you're not. You're going to lose hair continually all through the process. That's one reason I like to root thicker hair than what most people root. Because if it's falling out or breaking off anyway, then after you lose a little bit of hair, you got a bald baby because they don't hardly have any hair. But anyway, that's enough about hair. We're going to get Marissa in and get her baked and come back and do some more to her. We'll work on her scratch a little bit more. It's looking good, though. I think it might be dry. Almost dry. And you can almost feel it. I still need another layer of the bumpy stuff. And, I mean, you can feel it very, very slightly. I want to feel it a little more than that. But, yeah, she's going to be painted well. I don't know that she'll be a pretty baby because she's not a pretty sculpt, but she'll be painted well. That's when I say a pretty baby, I usually mean she's painted pretty, because all sculpts are not pretty. They're just not. It's just a preference on what people like and think is pretty. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I've always heard that, and it's actually true. Some of the dolls that I think are the ugliest actually sell. And some of the ones I think are super cute, I still have them. I don't know. But doll season is here, and so people are going to be buying more dolls. And so if you don't have any dolls for sale, you may miss this doll season. But if you're still learning, that's okay. If you make a few and sell them during the Christmas season for bargain dolls, even if you only get $50 or $100 for them, that's great because they're a practice doll. And you did recoup some of your money, so you're not going so far into the hole. That's the way I look at it. The only other alternative is to donate them, which is a rewarding thing to do, but you get nothing for them. And so if you're needing to get the money to be able to continue your craft or your art form or whatever you want to call it, your hobby, then you're going to need to sell your dolls. And that means you may need to go down on your prices, because for a bargain doll, we have an inflated sense of what our doll's worth because we put so much work into it, and it was grueling, and we had to figure it out and all that stuff. But when other people look at your doll, they're just going to see a doll. And they're going to say, oh, it's pretty, or it does have flaws, but it's still cute, or whatever they think of it. And they're going to expect a cheaper price for a doll that has, let's say, discoloration on their face or something. Or I actually saw a lady who had a doll and she burned the doll. The doll had visible burns on its face. And she was still trying to get $200 for that doll. And I thought, wow, if she gets that, I want to sell the Brooklyn Bridge to somebody, you know, because there is no way she's getting that. I wouldn't even pay $50. The whole side of the doll's face, it was like she had left it too long in the oven, and the part that was up toward the element just got too hot, and it wasn't melted, it was more just had a scorched brown burn on it, and she couldn't cover it up. And so, well, there you are, a burned doll. What are you going to say, it was caught in a fire and it's a burn victim? I mean, I guess you could, but who wants a doll like that? Unless you're going to make it a horror doll, and there is a market for those, but you just have to find the right person to want to buy it, or have a store that is marketed to be a horror doll store, so that people who like horror dolls can come there and find them. Because what you're really going to have is like 50 real nice dolls and one horror doll, and nobody's ever going to see that horror doll because they're just going to pass it up. And every time I make, other than there were like 2 times this didn't happen, but most all the times that I've made an alternative doll, I've ended up selling it very, very cheap because it just wouldn't move. And so finally I just said, okay, I'll take almost any offer you give me. Just give me an offer. $25? Okay, sold. You know, it's just because you want to get rid of it. Who wants that ugly thing sitting on their shelves, you know? I made it because I thought it would sell, and then it didn't. So I've went away from alternative dolls. But I have seen some really, really pretty alternative dolls. But like I said, you have to find that special somebody who wants that kind of a doll. And I did make a scary clown. And the lady went, yes, when she bought it. She really liked it. It was like, I took this clown kit. It was just a regular, Bountiful Baby had 3. Tootie, Topsy, Turvy, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember their names. But anyway, they just had different configurations of clown markings on their face, and you just painted them. Well, instead of painting them pretty, I painted it scary. And then I took, it had 3/4 arms and legs. But instead of putting them on a 3/4 body, I put it on a 1/4 body. A really big one. A real big, long 1/4 body. Because I got it in a group deal and I didn't know what to do with it. And so at the end, it's really funny. The legs are real long and clothy, and the bottom's only supposed to be a foot. But there was a leg. And it was real creepy looking. This doll was actually creepy looking. And you know, I even advertised it as such, that she was on a really big body. She could wear 2T clothes. And her head was about this big. So, I mean, you know, the head was almost looked like a pinhead, and, you know, the body was way, way, way too big. And so it just made it look all the more creepy to me. And the lady who bought it thought it was just fabulous. And it was so ugly. It was so bad. But she loved it, and she got it for a bargain. I don't remember what I sold it for, but I just remember it was a bargain. And I had put these 2T girl clothes on it. It had leggings that were pink and white striped, and then it had some other shirt that didn't even match. It was purposely done that way to make it look like it just had raggy clothes on, that it was just some evil clown that was wearing some old raggy clothes or something. I mean, it was scary looking. It really was. And but it was ugly at the same time. Just ugly, ugly, ugly. But that's what she wanted. So, I mean, she was happy, and I was happy to get rid of that thing. So, yeah. It was just awful. Anyway, I one time made this other doll that was, I called it an ice baby. It was supposed to look like a frozen baby. And I just took a kit, and I painted it mostly blue. But then it had this white that I put, it was supposed to be ice crystals on the baby all over. And it just really looked good. It was really, really done. Now that one was done really good. And I got a good price for her too. She sold. And I painted her nails and her lips blue, and she just looked she did look like a frozen sort of, she had closed eyes, so she looked like a dead baby kind of. It was really creepy too. She was kind of creepy, but she did look a little pretty. I mean, her paint job was really good. And and she sold good. And then I made this this other baby that was supposed to have been, I guess you could say maybe it was an abused baby, or I don't know. I didn't want to call it an abused baby. Anyway, I called it an evil baby, like one of those babies you see on a movie that comes after people or something. And it was just wearing a white onesie, but when I painted it, I made this wound on its head up here. And to make it look like the blood was running down its face, I just dripped the paint from up here, and it just ran down, and it ran all over the clothes and down the arm of the baby and everything. It looked so real. And that one sold too. That one sold real quick. But some of the other dolls I made, they just didn't. I made a blue avatar and a green avatar, and I made uh, a couple of other babies that I took Blinken and Nod and made them into horror dolls because they were full body vinyl, you know, and they had a torso and everything. And so I just painted them like they hated each other and they got into a fight or something. I always put a backstory with them so it makes them a little more appealing. But I sold them as twins, and then I made I've made quite a few alternative dolls, but oh yeah, I made Rosie the clown. I used the Bountiful Baby Kit Rose, and she was a pretty nice, cute little baby, but I just painted the clown stuff on her. She wasn't a clown kit, and she was a happy, bright colored, normal clown, you know, and I don't know. I rooted her. Half of her hair was blue synthetic hair, and the other half was red synthetic hair, and gave her ponytails, and she was cute actually, and I don't know. I made a pumpkin baby. I painted her orange, and her head was supposed to be the pumpkin. She had orange, had little green looking seams coming down her face to be the pumpkin. And I went outside and found a stick that had kind of a flat bottom on it and glued it on top of her head to be the you know, the stem of the pumpkin. And she was quite cute too. And I don't know. There were several dolls I made that were alternative, but alternative has only just a special market. You just are not going to sell them fast, that's for sure. Because like I said, unless you have some alternative store that are fantasy babies or whatever you want to call them, people aren't really looking for that. And the ones that are going to those stores that specialize in those, and that's pretty much all they make. And so they're just going to be hanging in your store for a while until somebody finally sees them. And oh, I made a zombie one time too. Now that's really easy to make with modeling. You just use greenish colors and yellowish colors, and you just model them up a whole lot with that. And they just look like a zombie. You don't even have to try. Anyway, that's enough. We've talked enough, and I'm going to now get Marissa in the oven and get her baked up, and we'll be back to put her other paint on her and fix her scratch a little more and do up her lips and nails a little more, and you know, go through the steps. We're practicing, we're doing different things, and we're learning a little bit more each time and getting practice. So by the time we finish Marissa, if you've been following all 3 videos and making a doll with me, you've had a good little bit of practice. And you've got the hang of it pretty much. So we may mix some more paint. I'm running low on 05 again. And so I may mix a little more of that. I don't know yet. May go on and finish Marissa first because she doesn't need any more 05. But I'm always having to mix paint. And a lot of times I just do it off camera because who wants to see that over and over again? It's just boring. Oh, she's mixing paint. When's she going to start painting? You know, I remember watching, I remember when I was watching videos and they were doing things like that. I was going, okay, mixing paint. Let's get to the painting. I want to see the painting. And I guess I was just impatient. I don't know. But I'm just thinking other people are thinking that too. I don't want to see that part. I want to see her actually doing the painting. So that's the part I like to do anyway. I don't like doing the rest of the stuff. But I don't mind rooting, but I hate putting dolls together. I hate dressing them. I hate photographing them. But you have to do all that if you're going to sell them. But anyway, I'm just going to end now because I hate for such an abrupt end, but this is going way too long, and they're taking too long to download. So please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.